Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Sean. Today I'm just doing another weekly wrap up. I thought I really wouldn't have much to say, but I keep kind of looking around and keep finding some stuff. So first off, for reading, I have not done any reading this week whatsoever. And I'll get more into why that is in just a few minutes. But I did get a new book. So fiction by Oh, um, so the title is Fiction by Trailer Park by Russell Banks. Or is it called Trailer Park? It says Trailer Park there. Trailer Park. So yeah, I guess it's called Trailer Park. So yeah, I think it's a collection of short stories by Russell Banks. Anyway, I don't want to read too much of like the blurb or whatever because I like to go into books blind. I'm not sure if I've actually ever seen a picture of Russell Banks or not. I've said this several times on my channel, but a few years ago I read Russell Banks's book The Sweet Hereafter, which I have a copy of right over there, right down there. That book is one of my favorite books of all time, The Sweet Hereafter. It's on the top 1000 list, 1000 books to read before you die by James Mustick. I'd never heard of it or Russell Banks before, but when I read that book, The Sweet Hereafter, I was just like, damn, this is a good story. This is just beautiful writing. It's one of those rare books that I think is a work of art. Just such a beautiful story. And I guess at the end of this video, I guess I'll post my review for that book. I do kind of say in that video that I think you should read the book without knowing anything about it. But if you want to know about that book, The Sweet Hereafter, I'll post my review of that at the end of this video. Anyway, I don't want to talk too much about, Russell Banks because I've mentioned him on several times on my videos. So yeah, I just saw this at the bookstore, Trailer Park, and I don't think I have or had a copy of this book. I'm not sure because I think I've seen this for a while at the bookstore. So I thought I might have gotten a copy, but I don't know. I don't remember having this. So I went ahead and got it. I'm pretty sure I don't have it, or I didn't have it though. It is not signed or anything. So yeah, I think I have 3 signed books by Russell Banks. And at this point, Russell Banks is a must-buy, must-read author. I want to read everything by him. So far, I've read 2 other books by him, Cloud Splitter and I think Affliction. I didn't like either one of those. So far I've only liked The Sweet Hereafter, but I liked it so much that I want to read everything by him, just hoping that something else he wrote is as good as The Sweet Hereafter. So I really can't undersell it how much, or oversell it, how much I loved The Sweet Hereafter. Just a beautiful book. And if you've watched my channel at all, you know I usually am very critical about books. I don't like a lot of what I read. So when I say there's a book that's genuinely great, genuinely beautiful, a work of art, hopefully you guys understand I'm serious about that. So anyway, that was just a nice book to add. Trailer Park by Russell Banks. I guess this is another new book I could add, but I got the copies of Autumn and Destiny, which is the newest book I've published. So this is my 7th novel. So I ordered 10 copies, and so this is one of them. So the other copy I showed you guys in the previous video was just a proof copy, but this is the real deal. So this is the final form. So this is the book. And it's now on Amazon. Autumn and Destiny, the 4th book in the Trevor Knight series and my 7th novel. So really sweet, just a huge book, over 600 pages. So I love that. That's the greatest book I've published so far. So really excited about that. Put that right up there. So the reason I have not read anything this last week is because mostly what I've been doing is editing. So I mentioned this in my previous video, but what I'm doing now, my main work in progress, is I am making the red pen edit corrections into the computer for this book Arabian Dawn. This is the 5th book in the Trevor Knight series, the sequel to Ottoman Destiny. So I've already made all the red pen corrections into this book. So what I'm doing now is putting the corrections into the computer. So that's like the two-step process for my editing drafts. The first stage is making all the red pen edits in the book. The second stage is putting all those corrections into the computer. It's a really laborious task. It's a pretty tedious task. It takes a lot of concentration. I don't really enjoy it. I love editing. I love the red pen edits. I love doing that, but making the corrections into the computer is pretty tiresome. But I've really been focusing on this past week. So when I did my last video, my previous weekly video, I was at like 95 pages or something into this book. And now I am 253 pages into the book. So I'm really proud about that progress I've made, like 150, 160 pages, you know. So I think I will still have to do about 2 more weeks work, because just kind of roughly figuring I could do about 100 pages per week, and I think I have 200 pages left. So I'm kind of planning on 2 more weeks of this book, making corrections into the computer, and then I could order the 6th draft. So basically I have to do 2 more edits of this book and it will be ready to publish. So anyway, I've just been really working hard on this last week. That's why I've not read. I've wanted to read, and I've like looked at books knowing like, okay, I could at least read a chapter so that way I could talk about them for my weekly update. But I don't know. I've just been throwing all of my energy into editing this book. And whenever I want to like rest and recover, have my own free time, I've been playing video games pretty much exclusively this week. I've just been playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey. So that's pretty much what I've been doing for just this past week. I do, you know, maybe a few hours of editing Arabian Dawn and then a few hours of gaming. That's pretty much been my whole week. Anyway, I don't want to talk about this anymore. I know I tend to talk about my books a lot. I just like talking about my books. So I guess just like all kinds of random nothings to talk about. Yesterday I had sort of a surprise dinner, a birthday dinner for my dad. I got like our whole family together and had a surprise birthday for him. And that went off really well. So I was really proud about that. For his sake, since I know he watches some of my videos, I won't say how old he is. So there is that. Really, I don't think I have too much other personal news or anything. Last week I mentioned that Robert Duvall died. The main death this past week has been Jesse Jackson, who ran for president as a Democrat in 1984, or let's see. Yeah, I think 1984 and 1988. In 84, the candidate who won the nomination was Walter Mondale, who lost to Reagan. And then in 88, Dukakis won, and he lost to George H.W. Bush. So Jesse Jackson was a Democrat candidate for president in both of those elections. And I don't want to like steer too much into politics, but I didn't really know of, or I knew of Jesse Jackson, but I didn't really know him very well. I didn't know very much about his history or his policies or anything. But I definitely think he was definitely a dude worth respecting. He just seemed like a really genuine guy, a good guy. He's also one of those guys that I think has crossover appeal. So whether you like really agree with all of his policies or not, I think he's still a guy where it's like, I think a lot of people would be okay with him being president or whatever. We are so divided now, where, you know, we don't want anyone from the other side to ever take power. But Jesse Jackson, I think, is one of those guys where it's like, you know, I don't know. I would have been curious to see just how the Jesse Jackson presidency would have gone. And, you know, if he could have been like the first black president or whatever. I don't know. So anyway, yeah, basically what I'm getting at is, you know, I think that's just a blow really that he died. And just a really pivotal, significant figure. So yeah, that's pretty disappointing to hear that he died. I didn't know of him very well. I knew his name, of course, but I just didn't really know very much about him. But I think, my impression is that I think he's a very good, decent fellow, and it sucks that he died. And I don't know, I just kind of wish, basically, I kind of wish we could have seen a Jesse Jackson presidency, I think, just to see how it would have went, what he would have done, how things would have gone differently if he was president instead of like Reagan's second term or H.W. Bush. Not to discount George H.W. Bush. Basically, my impression of him is like, I like the man. The dude flew airplanes in World War II against the Japanese. George H.W. Bush did that. So that is pretty cool. H.W. Bush is pretty much a hero for that, but not really a good president. So I think that's definitely a presidency where, like, yeah, let's see a Jesse Jackson presidency instead of a George H.W. Bush presidency. Why not? I would make that trade. So anyway, that was just really disappointing news about Jesse Jackson passing away. The men's and women's hockey team won gold at the Olympics over Canada. Both teams won over Canada. That is really sweet. I like hockey pretty well. I wasn't following the Olympics at all. I'm just not too much into it. But anyway, it's great that they won that. So good job on them, to both the men's and the women's hockey team getting gold at the Olympics. I don't really know what else to say. I mean, I think that pretty much covers it. So yeah, even though I didn't do any reading this week whatsoever, I felt it was a real productive week for me with editing my book. So I'm really excited about that. Hopefully within the next couple weeks, I will finish that draft and it will move on to the 6th draft. Once I finish making the corrections into the computer for Arabian Dawn and order the 6th draft of that book, what I'll probably do is shift my focus to this book, Keeping Fire, the 3rd book in the Samuel Creed series. This book is currently in editing with a red pen. I've edited about 50 pages of this book, and there's a lot of work to do on this book. I mean, you could just see like that page. There goes a pen. There's a lot of red pen edits of this book. It's just a lot of work. It's real messy. Anyway, I think that'll do it for this video. Even though it's a shorter video than my last one, which was like 43 minutes, I still feel like I talk too much. I'm sorry. I like talking about my books. No one else is excited about my books, so I have to be excited about them. Someone has to. Anyway, that is it for this weekly update. Thank you guys for watching. Hope to see you in another video. Bye.
2, 3, 4.